What's going on, game players? Woo! How are you guys doing? I want to welcome y'all to the Analog Circle Podcast, episode number 50. I believe it's 50 or 51. What are we on? I don't know. I'm going to go with 51. But I'm your host, Keon Mitchell. Good gracious. Let me tell y'all, thank you so much for tuning into the Analog Circle Podcast. It's been a long time, over a month since I have done the show. Now, in between, I've been doing the bonus stage, and that's only because I haven't had a lot of time to sit down and record. So tonight, we have a full-fledged show. And I'm so excited to be here. Man, it feels good to be officially back for 2017. Now, if you guys are not aware, you can find the podcast over on Stitcher, iTunes, Audio Mac, as well as it's another place, and it's slipping my mind, but it doesn't even matter. Just go over to some of those places, you'll find it, or type it in Google, the Analog Circle Podcast. Now, if you want to actually go over and check out the show on YouTube, it is a YouTube channel up that is entitled, of course, you already know, the Analog Circle Podcast. There's some videos over there. The podcast is there. And, the videos are of course, video game based. I'm trying to get into that a little bit. I'm on Twitch now under John Doe 1579. It's spelled JONDOE 1579. Go over there. I'm going to start Twitch streaming and trying to do a couple things to branch the podcast out a little bit. Now, I got to jump into this very quickly without further ado. Now, last week, it was the contest that was for a $20 PlayStation gift card. And the question was, what was the game? What was that game that was playing in the background? The Name That Game Challenge. Well, we actually have a winner. We have a winner. It would have been two people, but it was only one card up for grabs. Now, this winner is Mr. Nick. He actually emailed the show, and these are his words. He says, "What's good, fam? What's going on, bravo?" That's what I'm saying. He said, "Long time listener, keep up the good work and keep the podcast coming. Miss them during your break." I really appreciate that, Nick. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that. He said, but his answer was, he said, "I think the name that game is Final Fight." Nick, you were 150,000% correct. And I tell you, Nick, thank you for entering the contest. I appreciated that so much. And he got his card, the number to it, and truly want to thank him for participating. Now, he wasn't the only one, like I said, that entered the contest. For the first time for a contest, I actually got a phone call. Was so pumped up about this. Matter of fact, we're going to jump into that phone call right now. Here we go.
Hey, Keon, welcome back, buddy. My name is Jundip. And I'm just going to just say that thank you for what you do. I really appreciate it, man. I've been looking forward to your next show, and I just got home from work, and I saw you put it on. So I'm like, hell yeah, I downloaded it, and I listened to it, and yeah, just wanted to say welcome back. I know you're busy, and you haven't had time to do like a full show. Anyways. To answer your question about that, the game that you put on, I believe it's either Final Fight or Street of Rage, but I'll go with Final Fight. Anyways, well, yeah, buddy, like I said, my name is Junediv1, and I hope to hear from you, from your next podcast or whatever you do. Thank you, and have a great night. Peace.
Mr. Junediv1, listen, brother, I want to truly thank you for entering the contest. Now, I know that, unfortunately, this time, it didn't work out, but trust me, like I told you guys, this is something that I'm trying to do every month. So definitely just be on the lookout for the next one. It'll be another PlayStation card up for grabs or Xbox card. You know what? Matter of fact, y'all tell me, what card is the most popular among you guys? There's some PC guys that listen to the show, so it's up to y'all. Whatever y'all want, y'all tell me. So that's what it's gonna be, buddy. But outside of that, once again, I truly appreciate y'all entering. Never had 2 people enter the contest at one time. That was amazing. It was awesome. Really touched my heart. It really felt good, man. But Mr. Junediff won. Once again, thank you so much for trying your hand. And that's all right, brother, because next month, February is right around the corner. It'll definitely be another giveaway, brother. So just tune into that show and enter again. But outside of that, man, what have I been into? Oh, shucks. First off, if you guys didn't know, I got a boatload of games on my hands right now that I'm trying to slough through. I got Watch Dogs 2. I was playing that. The game is actually pretty good. I've been enjoying it. It hasn't been bad at all. You guys should check it out. The free 3-hour demo. Check it out, man. I bought it. Got it for $33 at Best Buy, brand new. Thanks to the Club Unlock membership, it's been paying for itself marvelously up to this point. But outside of that, I've been playing The Last Guardian. Man, God, dog. Whoa. The Last Guardian, listen, brother. Oh, I had to catch my breath. The game is not a bad game, but the more I play it, the more I get frustrated. Oh my gosh. The controls on this game are so sluggish. I don't understand them. I mean, I'm playing the game. I get it. But God, dog, this game, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be hard for me to finish this game. It's a puzzle game. It's a lot of puzzles. Trico has actually been listening. I don't know what other people were talking about, saying he was hard-headed. He didn't want to do what you asked him to do. For me, he's been doing just fine. That's not the problem, but the controls are an issue, and the camera. Whoa. The camera is a major issue for me. Now, that was something we already knew. I knew going into it. I said, forget it. I want it. I want to try this game out. It's been in the works for so many years. I must give this a try. And man, oh crap. It's been a sloth. But outside of that, I'm late to the party. Y'all know I'm super late. But I actually played The Last of Us and I beat it. Whoa, my goodness. What an incredible game. What a wonderful game. Oh man, one of the games that I thought was going to be overrated once I played it, that it wasn't going to live up to what my expectations were from hearing from everybody else how good the game was. I did not think it was going to live up, and it did. It did it and passed with flying colors. Awesome game. The greatest game ever made? I don't know about that. That's extreme, okay? I mean, when you go into the back catalog, I'm sure you can find some games that could rival what The Last of Us did, but what an amazing game. It would probably make my off the top of my head, top 20 list. Some of you guys are probably like top 20, but yeah, I mean, greatest of all time, that's questionable. But outside of that, what other games have I played, man? I think that's about it. I got way more games than I got time to play. I picked up Final Fantasy 15. It's still in the wrapper. I still have not touched Doom. I still have, like I said, I bought Watch Dogs. That's still in the wrapper. You know, it's just been really hard to catch up. I got Forza Motorsport 3. Well, Horizon 3. That's still in the wrapper. Got that for $26 at Best Buy. I'm telling you, Best Buy, man, you got that game as unlocked joint, and you have, you catch them on a sale. Oh my goodness. I got that game for $26 brand new. They were selling it for, I think it was like $35, and after taxes and they took the 20% off, it came out to like $26 and some change. I mean, just an incredible thing. But I'm rambling right now, man, and you know, that's never good. But you know what? I have talked enough. Last episode, I told y'all guys some of the new consoles and things that I got. There were throwbacks. They were retro, and I've been loving them. Haven't even opened them out the box yet, but I've been loving just looking at the packaging. But you know what, man? It is time. Oh, man, it is time, brother. It is time to do what we do here at the Analog Circle Podcast, and that is get into the gaming news, my friend, that went down. Starting out in Nino Kuni 2 news, this was very, very interesting to me. It has been announced by Bandai Namco at a press event in San Francisco that not only will the game be released for PlayStation 4 owners this year, but it will also make an appearance on the PC day and date with the console version. Now, by the way, if you guys were interested in knowing what Nino Kuni actually means, well, it actually translates to another world in English from Japanese. So the game's name is actually called Another World. Oh man, not to be confused with the game by Dolphin Software. Now, as far as the combat system goes, it's real-time combat, not turn-based. Now, as far as exploration, it will be free roaming, and according to the developer, level 5, loading times between encounters and environments will be drastically reduced from the previous entry. Now, I gotta let you guys know something right here and right now. I have not played Nino Kuni, the original. You guys know RPGs are not my stick. But I will say this game does look beautiful. Oh, it looks birdiful. I have really, really loved the art style. It kind of looks like the Tales of series. So for me, Nino Kuni 2, I probably won't pick this up, but I find it very interesting that Bandai Namco is saying that they're releasing this day and date on the PC. That means PC is getting a lot of third-party love from these guys. I'm going to tell you something. This is really, really great. So now, okay, wait a minute, buddy. Okay, I just had a question for you. So now is it going to be that Nino Kuni is no longer a console exclusive? Because it's on PC? Oh man, because I'm gonna tell you, you PlayStation guys out there, man, I love y'all. I have a PlayStation 4 and I love it. I'm dedicated to it, man. But I'm gonna tell you, y'all do like to throw that out there in the mix when Microsoft stuff goes on the PC. Oh, it's no longer exclusive. It's on the PC. So we're gonna see how you guys act when Nino Kuni 2 is on the PC as well. Will you still call it an exclusive? That remains to be seen. Moving on, we're gonna stay with some more Bandai Namco news because this was another interesting story. Ace Combat 7. Yeah. Which was originally announced for PlayStation 4. Now, this was back in 2015. Well, listen to this. Oh man, it has now been announced to be coming to PC and Xbox One. Now, PlayStation 4 players will have the luxury of playing certain sections of the game designed specifically for PlayStation VR. Now, there has been no word on whether the VR will be implemented into the PC version as of yet. Now, Bandai Namco is promising fierce air combat and a multitude of authentic and futuristic aircrafts to fly. Now, as far as the story for the game goes, here we go, Mr. Tsuneo, that sounds about right, Tsuneo, Katabushi, man, I think I butchered it, but we gonna stick with it, Mr. Katabushi, who was behind the 4th and 5th installments of the franchise, will be returning as the lead writer for the campaign. Now, it's been said that there will be multiplayer, but details are slim to none. So here we go again. Let me tell you something, brother. I see a real pattern here with Mr. Bandai Namco. Man, they are not loyal. That's the thing, man. Bandai is not loyal. They say we got to get a check. We need the bread. Guess what? PlayStation, look, man, we said it was exclusive. Yeah, it was coming to your platform. We understand we set it up like that, but no, we got to broaden the horizon here. We're going to go on Xbox and we're going to go on PC, which that really brings up the situation that I think going forward, we're going to see less and less exclusive third-party support. That's already been out there. It's been proven time and time again that the industry is getting away from these practices of having third-party exclusive deals. Now, granted, Sony, they have a couple. They still got Destiny DLC. Now, that's not the full game, but, the DLC is something that goes with the game that could skew some game players to go one way or another, depending on how doggone committed they are to the game. It could make them switch sides and go ahead and do it on the other console. But nonetheless, it's getting to the point where third party is trying to show love to everybody, because at the end of the day, like I always say, it's about getting the money. It's about getting a check. That is point blank. When people figure that out and they understand that these companies don't care about you, they don't care about me, they don't care about any of us game players, as long as they're getting the money, that's all that matters. So they will do what they have to do to get you to spend the money. That's why I can't understand why you have certain gamers that will not pick up another system because they say they hate it. Now, I understand if you have really good reason to not pick up a console. I understand some people don't like different business practices. They don't like to feel like they're being ripped off or being taken as a fool. I get that. I understand. But if your argument for not getting the other console is because I just don't like them, but they got all of these bomb games that are on the console. I mean, some really dope joints that are coming out. Then I don't understand. If you are a game player, at the end of the day, it's about the games. It's about entertainment. It's about the games that are on the platform. And I'm going to tell you, as a guy that has a PlayStation 4, that has really started diving into the PlayStation 4, I'm feeling real comfy. I'm feeling real good about my decision. Yes, I love the Xbox One. I still prefer the Xbox One, but I can't deny that I'm super pumped up and excited about Horizon Zero Dawn that's coming out next month, or Detroit that's coming out hopefully sometime this year, along with various other titles. So I don't know why some people hate on the console. If you're a game player, just play the games, brother. Anyway, moving on to the next thing. Now, games with gold this month, or should I say for February, because it's not quite February, but games with gold lineup is as follows for February. Monkey Island 2 will be available from the beginning to February 15th. Star Wars Force Unleashed will be available from February 16th until the 28th. Now that's actually, let me clarify that. That's for the 360. Now for Xbox One, you'll have the games as follows. One is called Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time. is going to be available from February 1st to the 28th, and Project Cars from February 16th until March 15th. So overall, I'm going to tell you, I've only played one game on this list, and that is Star Wars Force Unleashed, and let me tell you, that game was dope. Absolutely loved it. I loved the mechanics of the Force, actually using telekinesis and slamming the people around. Ragdoll physics were great. Oh, I loved it. Had to catch my breath. God dog it. But moving on, that's your lineup. But moving on into some more Prey news. Now, Prey, the new game by Bethesda Software, has been announced as releasing May 5th for the PC, the PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Now, Microsoft did, however, announce that you can pre-order the game on Xbox One and start downloading the game. So when it's released, you will have the install finished. Now, if you do pre-order, you will also receive the exclusive Cosmonaut Shotgun Pack. I'm going to tell you, Prey, I've looked at this game. I actually posted the trailer in the Facebook group, the Analog Circle. Just go over there if you want to join, then feel free. We'd be happy to have you. I've been trying to keep activity up over there, but I can't lie, I've been lacking. But the other members, they have definitely been doing their thing, so I appreciate them for it. But I had put up the video, and I gotta tell you, I'm interested. Will I pick it up on day one? I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I don't know. But I will say that I think it could be a really good game. So far, Bethesda has a pretty doggone good track record with their first-person shooters. I mean, Wolfenstein was wonderful. Doom, from what I hear in the short amount of time that I played on it, it was a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that they will not let us down and that this game, Prey, will make a triumphant return to the gaming space, even though it's not exactly a sequel. Now, moving on from this, man, I'm going to tell you, Nintendo, oh, brother, we got to jump into some Nintendo news right here, man. This is interesting. I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, into some Nintendo news. It was listed that Take-Two Interactive is one of the third parties allegedly giving support for the Switch. Now, as we know, that's the parent company of Rockstar Games. Now, as far-fetched as that sounds, this may possibly be true. Now, this is according to some insiders on NeoGAF and Twitter who have established good track records concerning Nintendo. Now, the rumor is that LA Noire Remastered is coming to the Switch, and it's due out later this year. Now, it's also worth noting it will also be released on the PlayStation 4, the PC, and the Xbox One. But why LA Noire? This game came out last generation. I played it, I beat it, I enjoyed it. But why would they choose this title? Well, in my personal opinion, I mean, it could be that, like I said, it's a last-gen game, and they would have no problem porting this to the Switch, or maybe this could be Take-Two trying the waters. Either way, I mean, they could be trying the waters because you gotta figure, LA Noire, it's not as bad as GTA. I mean, GTA, you doing all kind of stuff. You know, you going to the clubs, you're making it rain with money. I mean, it's a lot of M-rated material in GTA. However, you do have LA Noire. Yes, it's M-rated. It has language. It has some suggestive themes. I mean, the guy, you know, he gets himself into some stuff that really makes the story even more interesting at the end. But it's not that cutting edge, super hard M-rated type of game. And I think that, like I said, this could be them just throwing their hat in the ring just a little bit. Now, this is all, stringing on if this rumor is true. This could be debunked tomorrow, and this whole section that I'm going over could be null and void by this time tomorrow. But as it stands right now, this is the rumor. And I think that, they could be throwing their hat in the ring with Nintendo, see how well this does. If it does do numbers and it does perform at a really good, a nice little rate, has a nice attachment rate to it, then maybe they'll proceed forward. Either way, it's a low, to me, I believe. Now, I don't know how the industry works all in the insides and outs and all of that stuff with the budgeting and how much it costs to port a game over, but from this being a last-gen game and it's being remastered, I don't think that it'll cost a whole lot to get it ported over onto the Switch. So the money risk is not as high. So they can slide it on there, see how it works. If it performs, cool, we'll give you a little more support, but that remains to be seen. We'll see how this comes out in the wash. Moving on to something else that I didn't know was a thing. This was really cool, I got to tell you, because I've been on a retro kick a little bit. Now, didn't know this was a thing, but according to Eurogamer.net, Double Dragon 4 is coming out on Steam and PlayStation 4 and is being developed by Arc System Works. Now, these are the people that are behind Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, and the original Double Dragon from 1988. God dog it, I feel so old. Now, this game will come with 3 modes. One of these modes will be duel mode, where you will fight against another player. The next mode is called tower mode, where you keep fighting and climbing until you die. And the last but not least mode is, of course, the story mode. Now, the visual style of the game fits the art style from the original Double Dragon back in the arcade. They didn't really go too wild and crazy like they did on one of the arcade games, Xbox Live arcade games. I believe they did another Double Dragon. They polygoned it out some and, tried to update the visuals a little bit. It didn't really feel or look like Double Dragon, but this one, it actually looks like the arcade-based Double Dragon. It looks really cool. I mean, this is something I might have to look into, but either way, man, this thing is coming out. So for any of you Double Dragon fans that have been looking for this, man, get ready because it is on its way. Moving on. Now, in some gaming iOS news, Game Vice announced the release of a new game controller attachment for iPhone 7 that will bring back the headphone jack that has been sorely missed. Now, the downside to this is the controller will be eating away at your battery. Now, this controller will be available on January 31st for $99. Now, when you see it hooked up, now this is really interesting to me. When you actually see this controller hooked up to the phone, it really does resemble the Nintendo Switch handheld side of things. How the Switch looks when you take it on the go, it really looks like that. So, the other interesting thing about this controller is, of course, it has the analog sticks, and it has it resembles the Xbox One's controller, with the not the sticks, but the buttons. It has the A, B, the X, and the Y button, same colors and all. I'm like, dag, Apple, brother, you're going up against Microsoft. Y'all really do go head to head. Y'all are in a lot of spaces competing, and you're just gonna rip the whole design. Man, oh man, where is the integrity? But I guess they said, hey, this works. This is what we want to do. So you just gonna have to take it. But either way, this thing is coming out. And I think that maybe this this is interesting, because that is the difference with the phone. You know, when you're playing on the phone versus an actual handheld, you don't have the button layout as an actual handheld. If they start to really catch steam with this thing, and somebody would be way more willing to pay $100 for a controller versus $300 for a Switch. Now, I get it. Nintendo has the best IPs out there. You'll never get them on the iPhone. Well, hey, wait a minute. I don't know about that, because we did see Mario Run. Mario actually was on a Apple product. So we cannot officially say that you will never see another Nintendo product on a phone, because even in March, it's coming to Android. So they have already delved into the phone market with their actual biggest character that they have in their arsenal. So I think that if Apple does this right, they bring some games out there, they really take very, very good, what's the word? What am I looking for? If they actually take this thing a little seriously, you know, and bring out some really good games with some very good support for this controller, then I think that this could really be a problem for Nintendo, because way more people have phones than they'll have Switches. That is the truth. If you can actually put out there a product that will appeal to a gamer, you know, even a casual game player, that they can just buy this attachment, play a game, and make it feel real smooth, make it feel like an actual handheld game, I don't know. It could be a problem. I'm not saying it's going to be a major threat, because Nintendo is who they are. Definitely not undermining Nintendo and their presence in the industry, but we gotta be honest. Has Nintendo's presence really been super strong? Has the gaming force been with Nintendo over the last few years? I would have to say not so much. We know that the handheld market is where they always shine. Nintendo has shined in that market since the Game Boy, since the daggone 80s. But now that you have these phones coming up, these tablets, it's another ball game. It's brand new. Nintendo's trying to head it off with the Switch. I'm wishing them well. I want them to do well. I don't want Nintendo to go away. But if this is handled the right way, this could possibly be a problem for Nintendo. Moving on to the next story. Ghost Recon Wildlands. That's right. It will be getting a beta that will run from February 3rd until the 6th. God dog, that is a short window, brother. Look, you only got 3 days to play this game. So if you want to be a part of this, go to ghostrecon.ubisoft.com/Wildlands for your chance to be selected, or just go to Google and type in Ghost Recon Wildlands beta, and it'll take you to the website. I mean, that's all you gotta do. That's it if you're interested. Moving on now, an interesting partnership has come to life that was teased via tweets, but is now confirmed to be true. Square Enix and Marvel have teamed up to do an Avengers product. Well, should I say a project? An Avengers project. Now, before you go get too worried and say, I thought Square makes Final Fantasy games. Now, even though that is true, for this project, they will be combining together Eidos Montreal, who is the team behind Deus Ex? Mankind? I think I'm saying that wrong, but y'all know the game. Deus Ex. There we go. Mankind Divided. And Crystal Dynamics. Now, that's the team behind Rise of the Tomb Raider. Now, those are two pretty good games. Now, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I can definitely personally vouch for that game. Crystal Dynamics did an amazing job on that game. I absolutely loved it. As far as Eidos Montreal with Deus Ex, I did not play that game, so I can't personally speak on the what's the word, on the quality of that game, but some people have said that they've enjoyed it. Other people have said not so much. So that one is a bit of a mixed bag, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if they can deliver on this next project. Now, by the way, there is no word as to when this will be released, but it is in the works. That could be interesting. I haven't seen an Avengers game, brother, since the arcade, when it was Captain America and they used to say the Avengers. And I think when you died, right, when your character got knocked out or something and it was over, it would say something else. Oh yeah, America still needs your help. But I remember them days. The arcade was the best time ever, man. Goodness gracious. But either way, that was a pretty good game. I enjoyed it. It was fun. So hopefully they'll be able to make a nice, I'm hoping for, for a bit of a, what's the word, man? A grimy kind of superhero game. I don't want a happy-go-lucky type of game, not a Avengers game. I want something to get a little grimy, a little dirty, something that not M-rated, because you don't have to make it M-rated to make it kind of cutting edge a little bit, But I'm hoping that they'll be able to do something that's just not your run-of-the-mill Marvel game. Deal with some mature themes, something in there. Have somebody die. I want it to go a little dark, but not overly dark, because it's a Marvel game, but I say go dark. Do it. Moving on now, going back into Nintendo news. I really want that, though. I do want the Avengers game to go a little dark, though. But going back into Nintendo news, if you're using your Switch and your battery does run out of juice, Nintendo will be offering the option to purchase another battery at a price. For now, that price point has not been determined yet. Now, the internal battery, man, this could get really expensive, but the internal battery can't be removed by the user, but can be sent away to Nintendo's customer service. So basically, that internal battery, if something happens to it and you're afraid you're going to lose your Switch, you're afraid that it's not going to be useful anymore, you send it away, but you're going to have to pay for it. I got to tell you, man, God dog it. The Switch is a $300 console on paper and at retail. It's $300. Yes, it is. But man, the more and more, now, I mean, to be fair, this is only if your battery does go up. But God dog, man, the more and more peripherals and things that they say you can add, man, this system would mess around. If you wanted to get the ultimate Switch experience, brother, you might have to spend daggone near $500, maybe even $600, because you think about it. Let's just put it in perspective. I'm just going to say the doggone Pro Controller for the Switch. That's it's what, $70? So you're already up to $370. You pick up a game, it's probably going to be, I don't know, what, $50 or $60, something like that. Man, you're way over $4, okay? You're past $4, okay? You're like $420, $430 for a game. Now, I don't know. I mean, look, it's not a lot of details about the Switch, not a lot of concrete stuff. It's a lot of prices out there. The prices are definitely concrete. But I guess we'll have to see, man. But that's one of the things that they announced. We'll have to see how it goes. Hopefully this does not become a problem. I mean, of course, the system isn't out yet, but them addressing this already, that's great to know. But hopefully the internal battery won't be running out and, losing a charge and all of that stuff. The more you charge the unit and the battery, I don't know. I'm just rambling. Moving on, God dog it, shoot. Into some Gravity Rush 2 news. The game's director, dag it. Why do I keep writing these names down and I don't know how to pronounce them? Keiichiro Toyama. I always have a hard time with the first name. Last names are not that hard for me. But, Kaichiro Toyama. Whatever, man. I'm not saying whatever, just dismissing this man's name, but, we gonna move past his name. But he went into more detail about the game's free DLC with an interview with Famitsu Magazine. He said it will focus on the story of Raven instead of the original protagonist, Cat. Now, the story arc will depict what happened at the end of the previous game and the children. He also said they wanted to include it in the game, but decided to take it out because of the possibility of new game players playing the game and not understanding the references made to the previous game. Now, as far as the length of this DLC, he did say that if you're taking your time, it will take about 5 hours to complete this free, yes, emphasis on free DLC. So I actually spent a couple of minutes with this game, and I'm going to tell you, man, it actually was not bad. Now, I was at Best Buy. They had Gravity Rush 2, the demo on the PlayStation 4. Matter of fact, the demo is actually up on the PlayStation 4. I don't know why I haven't downloaded it, but I was at Best Buy, played it for a minute. It was interesting. The art style, man, oh man, young teenage me would have been in love with this game because it has that anime art style to it, we used to call it something back in the day. When Jet Grind Radio came out, Cell Shaded. That's the name of it. Cell Shaded. It has such a beautiful color palette to it and art design. It looks great, man. And, it plays good. The gameplay was not bad. It was just some of the camera angles, having to use the gravity and moving from this place to the next place. I don't think it would be hard for me to grasp it, but I was in Best Buy. I was just killing time, had like 5 or 10 minutes, probably more so like 5. Played it, and it was good, man. I think I'm going to pick it up, but, we'll see. But for you guys that are into this game, that love it, Gravity Rush 2, the DLC will be coming out soon, and it will be free, and it will take you 5 hours. That's very lengthy for free, especially DLC. Moving on into some PC news. Now, if you are a PC player and you're into multiplayer survival, that is, multiplayer survival, The Wild 8 will be launching on Steam Early Access on February 8th. Now, this game takes place in the Alaskan wilderness, where you will have to work together to fend off cold, hunger, and wild beasts while trying to discover the mystery of the plane crash. Now, the developer said the game will be in early access for 3 months and will cost $19.99. Now, I actually saw this game. It looks interesting. It has like an isometric kind of over the head view. Graphically, no, it's not like a super masterpiece. It's not going to drop your jaw on the floor. No, but I think that some of the things that they're tinkering with as far as the mechanics are interesting for people who are into this genre of survival, multiplayer survival. So if any of you guys are interested, definitely find it on Steam February 8th and check it out. $20. Now, moving into some Ninja Theory. Oh man, Ninja Theory is a great studio. Really love their work. I don't think they've made a bad game. Some people didn't like DMC. Say what you want. But Ninja Theory, of course, the team behind Heavenly Sword, DMC, and the upcoming game Hellblade, has been busy at work with a VR game entitled Dexed. Now, that was actually released for the PC and the Oculus Rift and Vive. It actually had support for those two VR peripherals at the time. Well, for people that own a PlayStation VR, you will be able to experience this underwater shooter on Tuesday, January 31st for $9.99. Now I didn't play this. I played the video of this. Okay. Looked at it. It looks interesting. I don't think it's anything to really write home about, but for any of you guys that have the PlayStation VR right now and you feel like it's not a lot of games that are on it at this moment, then definitely give it a try. It's $10. It's not going to break the bank. You know, Ninja Theory, like I said, I've enjoyed all of their games. For some reason, I want to say they were behind, it was another game that I loved back in the day, Enslaved. I think they were behind Enslaved. I can't 100% say they were, but if they were, that was another incredible game. Gameplay, everything was tight. I'm really hoping they put that on the backwards compatibility list. That was awesome. But either way, if you're fiending for some more VR on your PlayStation VR, this game will be out on Tuesday, January 31st. So be on the lookout for it. Now God dog, almost forgot about this. Sticking with VR news, it looks like 9. Now this is an interesting number. It looks like 9.52% of Resident Evil 7 players are playing the game in VR, which comes out to around 81,000 people. Now, this stat is not 100% accurate, but this number only counts towards people who agreed to opt to share data with Capcom when beginning the game. Now, according to Destructoid, Resident Evil 7 has shipped 2.5 million copies during the launch period. Now, I remember when this game was, the hype was building for this game, found out that it was VR compatible. Everybody was like, oh no, I'm not playing that game in VR. It's going to make me doggone have a heart attack. I can't do it. It's too much. But it looks like, no, you have some people that are braving this thing. 81,000 to maybe not be 100% accurate, but, as close to accurate as you can get. That are actually playing this and experiencing this in VR. Matter of fact, if you are a listener out there that is playing this in VR, Resident Evil 7, definitely let me know how your experience has been, because I've heard that this is actually a really good Resident Evil, where it actually returned the franchise back to its form. Now, I understand it's first person. That is a really big departure from the actual original games, that were having the third person view and the over the shoulder view, and sometimes over the top, behind you, over the side, if you want to go back to the PlayStation, the original PlayStation version. So it's great to see that this game is doing well. It's selling. Now, we all understand and know that just because the game shipped 2.5 million copies doesn't exactly mean that it sold 2.5. But from what I've been hearing, this game has been getting a lot of positive buzz. People are enjoying it, so I'm sure that it's selling quite well. So I'm wishing Resident Evil 7, a very, very successful, sales launch window. And I hope that it really does make people who have been fans of the franchise for so many years feel very, very good about where the franchise is headed. I haven't played Resident Evil, oh my gosh, man, I couldn't tell you since, wow, man, Codename Veronica maybe, and that's back on the Dreamcast. I mean, I have been checked the heck out. I didn't even play Resident Evil 4 because I didn't get a GameCube until much later, that I bought from my homeboy Jeremy. Shout out to Jeremy for selling me his GameCube many, many years ago. He gave me a heck of a deal on it too. Gave me Smash Brothers, gave me Beautiful Joe. It was included. He really hooked the brother up. So shout out to Jeremy for that. We talked. I'm hoping he'll be on the show very soon. And, I'm just gonna leave it at that, man. But, moving on into some more Android news. Now, for Android users, the classic puzzle adventure Myst that was released in 1993 on the PC is now available and is called real Myst. Now, it will actually feature several improvements to the game, including dynamic environments, a built-in hint guide, and bookmarks for saving and restoring your progress. Now, you can play with touchscreen controls or use a Bluetooth gamepad for analog stick controls. Now, the game will cost $6.99. I belched. I was trying to cover it up. I didn't do a good job. But the game will cost $6.99, and like I said, it'll support analog sticks, or once again, you can use your touch screen. See, here we go. The mobile space there really, I'm telling you, the Switch has really, I'm telling you now, it's going to energize these guys, the iOS market, the Android market, to go harder on this control support. I'm telling you, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying Nintendo was in trouble. I'm just saying the competition could get fierce in the handheld space. Moving on from that, matter of fact, before we move on, let me just tell you guys, I can't just go past Myst like it's a small deal. Myst was like one of the first games I played on the PC when my parents got me my PC for Christmas back in like 94, 95, somewhere around in there. I remember getting an IBM PC. And this was one of the first games I picked up. Now, the PC, it couldn't really run it. I mean, it was screen tearing like a mother. I didn't have a sound blaster. You old school guys will know what that is. The sound blaster card. Didn't have any of that in there. Ended up getting a daggone Mickey Mouse doggone voice speaker that I was playing a Mickey Mouse game on, and I was so pumped up because it was using dialogue and I could hear Mickey talking. I was like, oh my gosh, man, he's really talking to me. This is amazing. But that was actually a really, really good game. Early on, PC, it looked so realistic. Now, keep in mind, it wasn't, when you go back to it, it's not mind-blowing, brother, not by a long shot. But at the time, it was really, really, oh man, it was a standout on the PC side, man. But moving on from that, now according to series veteran, we're gonna get into some Street Fighter news right here. This is kind of cool too. According to series veteran Yoshinori Ono, there is a possibility that Capcom Ultra Street Fighter 2 could go multi-platform. Now, with the caveat, now this is the caveat, this is what he's saying has to happen. It has to sell extremely well on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is the quote from him. He says, if this title sells well, we'll consider it. We put a lot of thought into how this can be fully enjoyed on the Nintendo Switch. So for the time being, it's only going to be on the Switch. Let me tell you something, brother. Mr. Ono. I think that, this sounds a little not backwards at all, because I actually get it. You need the money. You need it to sell well so you can get the money to actually port it over to the other consoles. I get that. I understand that type of mentality. You need the money so you can spread the love around. But my thing is, this game actually looks pretty cool. I'm not really big into the fighting games too much unless it's UFC or Fight Night, something like that. But for me, this game really looks dope, man. I would actually buy this. If I got the Switch, I would probably pick this up. So I'm hoping that it does well. I'm hoping that, people that pick up the Switch, they'll give this a chance. I understand it's Street Fighter 2. I get it. But if that's the case, I really want it to do well. I mean, not only for it to come out on multi-platforms, multiple systems, but I want Capcom to be around. Hopefully with, like I said, Resident Evil 7 is out. Hopefully with this coming out on the horizon very soon, maybe they can start turning things around at Capcom, because they haven't been doing amazing lately. They've been doing a whole lot of remakes and, redo-overs of Resident Evil, a lot lately. So hopefully this is a time when they'll be turning it around and things will get better. And if it does come out, I think it would be awesome. But as we've seen thus far, Capcom is actually faithful. We haven't seen them try to spin off of the Street Fighter V being exclusive on the PlayStation 4, not calling it Street Fighter Extreme Fighter 5 or anything like that. They have just kept it on that platform, and that's that. So I'm sure that, like he said, this is only for the Switch right now, but if it does do numbers, if it does do well, then they could possibly port it over to the other consoles. So we'll have to wait and see. But the last story for this week, and it's actually in more fighting game news, Tekken 7's release date has been delayed until June 2nd, 2017. Now, the reason being is they saw some titles, some of their own even, that came out with lack of content or whatever it was that caused players to bash the product. Now, this was according to Mr. Harada. So basically, they don't want to get the same backlash as Street Fighter did. And I understand that, bashing the product, saying it's horrible, saying it's not worth the money, saying it's incomplete, which some of those complaints are valid. Got to be honest. You said you were going to do one thing, you didn't do it. You brought out some things, some features much, much later down the line. So to me, you actually set yourself up for that. But I respect the fact that they're going to hold off. And I know some of you guys were very excited for this early. There are a nice amount of Tekken players out there that have been looking forward to this. And this was supposed to come out like in the first, quarter of this year. It was supposed to come out. So since they pushed it back to basically 6 months, half of the year is going to be over by the time it comes out. But I respect the fact that they're doing it because they want to give you guys who are fans of this product, of this game, the best game they can possibly give. So with that being said, I salute you, Mr. Harada, for not rushing this out of the shop. Well, guys, that is officially the end of the gaming news for 2017. Well, for the beginning of 2017 for the podcast, that is. Now, I got a lot of emails and stuff. It's been great, man, because I haven't been on in a while. I've got quite a few of them, so I'm going to go over those in the second part of this podcast. So you guys stay tuned, and we're going to get into the feedback section right after this. Stay tuned, guys.
Still alive. I won't die as long as you still live. Too bad. It looks like your revolution was a failure. Just because you've destroyed Metal Gear doesn't mean I am done fighting. Fighting? What are you really after? A world where warriors like us are honored as we once were, as we should be. That was Big Boss's fantasy. It was his dying wish. When he was young, during the Cold War, the world needed men like us. We were valued then. We were desired. But things, are different now. With all the liars and hypocrites running the world, war isn't what it used to be. We're losing our place in a world that no longer needs us. A world that now spurns our very existence. You should know that as well as I do. After I launch this weapon and get $1 billion, we'll be able to bring chaos and honor back to this world gone soft. Conflict will breed conflict. New hatreds will arise. Then, we'll steadily expand our sphere of influence. But as long as there are people, there will always be war. But the problem is balance. Father knew what type of a balance was best. Is that the only reason? Isn't it reason enough for warriors such as us? I don't want that kind of world. Ha! You lie! So why are you here then? Why do you continue to follow your orders while your superiors betray you? Why did you come here? Well, I'll tell you then. You enjoy all the killing. That's why. What? Are you denying it? Haven't you already killed most of my comrades? That was... I watched your face when you did it. It was filled with the joy...
And welcome back, guys. Welcome back to the second part of the podcast. Of course, it is the feedback section. And I got to tell you, thank you guys for writing in while I was not active with the podcast. Shout out to Mr. Michael Jankunsky, who wrote in to wish me a happy holiday and hope that I was doing well. I greatly appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much for the thoughts, man. Also outside of Mr. Michael, of course, Mr. Cody Clark has written in. He wrote in quite a few times, but due to time restraints, I'm trying to shorten the show a little bit, but due to that, I'm just going to read just a few emails. Him and Jeremy actually had emailed the show. So we're going to get started with Mr. Cody Clark. The name of his email is, "And Then Thing Happened." He says, so the Switch had its press conference. $300 is not a lot of money in the current game generation. I do not give three tugs about many of the games listed. I've never been a fan of Zelda, me neither. I liked Mario Kart and 64. But if the Switch is going to be the system all of the sweet JRPGs migrate to from the Vita and 3DS, it may be worth it for that. I sort of shiver at the idea of being at my local coffee shop with Goose, shout out to Goose, by the way, each with a Switch playing our silly JRPGs. That'd be hilarious. He says, I say that like I won't do it anyways. I am sure there will be all kinds of derpy, annoying Nintendo-ish quirks that will make no sense, will still come to light. But hey, anything that stirs the pot and gets people to back away from Sony and Microsoft and be like, oh, look, games, fun, kittens, hooray! Hey, Cody. Hey, man, let me tell you this, brother. I really... Kittens, hooray, brother. I appreciate this email. I'm going to tell you, to me, I was gone during that time when the press conference had happened. Nintendo did the big reveal of the Switch. My thoughts on the Switch. And me and Jeremy, and even Mastino, shout out to Mastino Davis as well. We had talked about this. Separately, of course, but we talked about it. And I think the Switch is a good idea. Like I was talking about with the phones before, if the phones keep going the way that they're going, it may take some of the steam away, but Nintendo is Nintendo. Some people really dislike Nintendo a lot. I'm not one of those people. I still think they have a place in the industry. Yeah, some of their practices are questionable, but, and we'll get into that a little bit later with the question I'm going to pose to you guys. But I think that Nintendo, with this idea, it's the only thing they could realistically do that could possibly catch on, blending their console market and their handheld market into one. It seems like good business. Not everybody is thrilled and 100% behind it, but it looks like it could possibly work out on their behalf. Will I be getting a Switch? I would plan on getting a Switch eventually. I was saying I would get it day one, but I don't know about that yet. I might have jumped the gun on that one, but eventually I will want to get a Switch. But thank you so much, Cody, for this email. Really appreciate you always tuning into the show and writing in. Also, I want to tell you, Cody, I also got your other emails. I'm very pumped up about you and your Raspberry. you doing your thing with that. I definitely read them. I don't want you to think that I let that go by the side. I appreciate you writing in, and definitely keep me up to date as to how the progress is going with that. Thank you so much, man. But moving on into the last email that I'll be able to read this week, because I got to get ready to go to work in a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and switch it over to Mr. Jeremy Parrish. He says, keys. Wait a minute, let me say that again. Good gracious. He said, keys. I had to don my Flashman upgrade to stop time for a few seconds. Sorry, I've been playing Mega Man 2 at work on my DS to pass the time. There are not enough hours in the day, man. I'm telling you, I know. He says, I appreciate the podcast. Thank you, brother. Excellent job. I was writing because I just read an article Time Magazine wrote on the 50 greatest games of all time. Tetris was number one. Anywho, wow, how the frick did Tetris make number one? I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going. He says, it got me thinking. What would you consider the greatest console ever created? Ooh, I don't think we have ever talked about that. What would make it the greatest? The games, the stats, sales. The PlayStation made video games cool. The Super had some of the finest games ever crafted. The 360's controller felt oh so good. Sega showed how games were not just for kids. The NES started it all. So what do you think? What is the greatest console ever made? I started writing this with the Super in mind, but as I thought about it, and I may be going out on a limb saying this, but I think the N64 is the greatest system ever made. So many innovations allow games to be played in ways we only dreamed of. What would we be playing now without Mario 64, Zelda, GoldenEye, the analog control, the Rumble Pack, Z targeting? That's a good point. Sure, it had its problems, mainly caused by Nintendo's own arrogance, but its strengths outweighed its weaknesses. I don't remember this being discussed on the podcast, so just putting it out there. By the way, I was extremely against handhelds too. Bruh, laugh out loud. They're not so bad. If you give it a chance, especially when you're sitting in an office or pulled over on the road. I love my 3DS. Man, Jeremy, brother, you have put me in a tough spot, brother. First, thank you for the email. I appreciate it. That's my guy right there. Jeremy, we go way, way back. Many, many, many years as friends. But dag, brother, did you have to put me on a Front Street, brother? Oh, man. The greatest console ever made. That is so hard to answer, brother. I can't give you a definitive answer. I can't. It's like you said, all of the different consoles have brought something to the table. Like you said, Nintendo, they really brought gaming back after the crash, after the big gaming crash that happened in the 80s. They brought gaming back and made it wonderful, made it very exciting, and gave you a purpose to play a game, a reason. You had an actual goal. I'm not saying that all of the Atari games were just mindless games that didn't have an ultimate goal, but most of them were. I remember playing Jungle Hunt. It never ended. I was jumping vine to vine and getting swallowed by crocodiles for hours. It never was an end to the game. So Nintendo brought that to the table. Sega, we can jump forward. I mean, Sega as a whole, they were the first to do it before Microsoft did it by putting a console online to make it so you could play people on the internet. Never had been done. They laid that groundwork for Microsoft to actually bring the Xbox to the table to bring online gaming to another level on the console side. Then you go to Nintendo with their controllers being the first controller out there that could actually have a almost perfectly replicated Street Fighter 2 experience at home, having all 6 buttons on their controller. I mean, that was amazing. You know, having the third-party support that they had, the games that they had, Super Mario World was incredible. Then you move over, like I said, to PlayStation, which I didn't mention, by the way, until just now. But PlayStation, they made games grow up, as well as Sega. Sega was really pushing the boundaries with some of their games as well. But PlayStation really went all out. Like, we don't care. Put an M on it and put it out. This is what we're doing. You know, Nintendo with the analog sticks. I mean, good grief, it's so many different aspects that everybody has brought to the table to this day that's impossible. If I had to name my favorite console of, man, I can't even say of all time, but my favorite console, at least as it stands right now, I would have to say, because I can't say what's the greatest. I just can't do it. But my favorite, I would have to go with PlayStation 2. Because PlayStation 2, they had so many exclusives. I mean, it was just super fat with exclusives. You couldn't get so many of the games that were on the PlayStation 2 on the other platforms. Now, Xbox, I was a big fan of Xbox, of the original. Loved it because they made games look so beautiful. They ran well. The controller, before they made the S controller, the original Xbox controller was not that great, but the S controller was wonderful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It handled great. They had some very good games. Shenmue 2 was on there. Jet Grind Radio Future was on there. Oh my gosh, please bring that back. Sega, why don't you bring that back? Not the original Jet Grind Radio, but Jet Grind Radio Future. Bring that back, please. That game was wonderful. But, you know, they had so many other, types of games. They didn't really get a lot of third-party support, so they had to basically support themselves. Sega was heavy on the original Xbox, and, it's hard. But, yeah, I would say PlayStation 2. Yeah, I feel very confident and strong in that. It had a Blu-ray player, not a Blu-ray, DVD player that came with it. Great exclusives. I mean, just an awesome, awesome machine. So, yeah, so far that's my favorite. Even though I will say, Dreamcast, it died too soon. I thought it had the potential to be better than the PlayStation 2, but because it didn't get the third-party support and it wasn't getting the titles, it just wasn't getting the games that, it fell off. And people might forget, but 2K actually started on the Dreamcast. That was their game. NBA 2K17 and, all of the other 2Ks that have come out, the football that was on there, I say it to this day, 2K football was better than Madden. I don't care what anybody else says. It had way more features. The presentation was 5 times better. Why do you think they brought the license? They felt inferior. EA was nervous because that franchise could have been exactly where Madden is now. Hey, we saw what happened with NBA 2K versus NBA Live. We see who came out on top with that situation. I guarantee you that if EA did not get those rights to the NFL, 2K would be what Madden is now. So, Dreamcast with the 4 ports on it, it was a great system, but because of the games, and that's what it always comes down to, Jay, we both know that, PS2, hands down, brother. Hands down, man. But thank you so much for the emails. Thank you guys out there for your support. I really appreciate it. Man, it's wonderful to be back. But we're going to get into this last section of the podcast where, of course, I got to ask you y'all opinion because it really matters to me. Now, my question to you guys is, we're going to jump back on Nintendo. And funny enough, me and Jeremy discussed this, and, you know, he has his opinions about it. I have my opinions about it, but I want to get you guys' take on it. My question is, will Nintendo make artificial demand for the Nintendo Switch? We know no matter what. Jeremy actually gave me a history lesson here. He said, Keon, every Nintendo product that's come out, we're talking about the GameCube. We're talking about even to the Wii U. We know the Wii was a travesty trying to find that. But he said it's always shortages. It always is. You never can find them. Me, myself, I'm still real salty. Man, I feel real salted, real Laurie-like with this Nintendo Mini not having it in stores. I'm real mad about that. They should have known that was a big product that many, many people wanted, but it was still in short demand. Now, Jeremy, he made some very good points. He said they don't want to produce too many where they got to eat the cost of them. So they just want to make just enough so that it doesn't hurt them financially. I get it. Trust me. I got you. I understand that. But my thing is, when you know that it's a demand there, right now, the Switches, they are sold out. All of the pre-orders, they're gone right now. It's over. No telling when it's going to be a re-up on them. Reggie Fils-Aimé said, don't worry, we're not going to make shortages on this console. It's going to be readily available. Well, Reggie, you said the same thing about the Nintendo Mini, and I believed you, brother. I really believed what you told me, but I think you might have told a fib. I think you might have just lied to me because I go to the stores and I can't find it. What's to make me believe that the Switch will be readily available? Granted, it's coming out in March. It's not during the holiday season. Not too many people are shopping in March unless they are, of course, IRS balling. If you don't know what that means you get your tax money and you ball out of control and you can get what you want. That's the only time people will be shopping in this off season. So with that being said, I'm gonna pose the question again. Will Nintendo make artificial demand for the Switch? If you want to get in contact with the show, you can reach the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com or call in to voice your opinion at 443-261-4607. Man, it feels so wonderful to be back in the groove, y'all. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for the support, for the love, all of the kind words. So appreciated. I was feeling kind of down. Y'all really helped to raise me up, man. Really thank y'all for that. But with that being said, I'm blabbering on. So, until next week, oh yes, brother, when we do it again, you guys take care. And remember, man, it's not about the console that you're playing on. It's not about being brand loyal. It's about these games, man. Remember, play the games, not the console. You guys take care and be safe out there, and I will holler at y'all next week. Bye-bye.